some of the people we've trained this year, they went from 15% success rate to 35% success rate. It's about like making the person feel safe at first, getting them talking about their house and their painting, creating a natural path to the estimate, booking the estimate right at the door there, and then once you kiss the person, don't run away. The irony is, hello, we have not done this in a while. Excited for those of you that don't know, this is Caleb. He is the marketing director at Paris Painting.
Yep.
So new fancy title probably since the last time we did a podcast even. And then I'm Nate Streeter. I'm the marketing director at Aleph. And I think we're just kind of want to check in with people. We're kind of in the middle of the spring, May 15th here. We got all kinds of things we're working on. Caleb oversees everything to do with the marketing at Paris Painting. And you guys are on track for what? 18 million this year? I guess I don't even know what your goals are.
We're on track to do 18 to 19, kind of in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also do a couple million in roofing?
Yep. Yeah, that's closer to 3 million.
Okay. So probably top 20 million between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And almost all residential, right?
Yep, almost all residential.
So that gives people an idea of kind of, and then a lot of your budget is neighborhood marketing, so direct mail, flyers, door knocking.
Yep. Mostly.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Our campaigns are split into like kind of like pillar campaigns. Like we spend $250,000 in flyers, or roughly $250,000 in direct mail, $250,000 in like PMAX campaigns. And
with Google retargeting.
Yep, Google retargeting, mostly retargeting, but then competitor websites and display ads in general. And then the rest of it's going to door knocking, which has been the biggest increase of spend for us this year, has been door knocking.
Yeah. And really, I mean, when you came to work here back in, was it 2022?
Yep, 2022.
I mean, that we were just starting to try to test it out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think we felt like in 2022, 2023, it was okay, but there was a lot of things about it that it was hard for us to get the success rate up. We had a lot of slippage. So how many jobs actually sell, that's the success rate. How many appointments we book that cancel, that's the slippage. And so we were having a hard time getting, like, our success rates were like 25 to 30%, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And our slippage was like closer to like 10+%. So 1 out of every 10 canceled or something happened where we didn't end up giving them an estimate.
Mm-hmm. 10 to 20. 10 to
Yeah.
20%.
Oh, yeah. In some cases, it was even higher. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's something that you've been working a lot on as we sort of booted last year, is how do we get those job sizes too. Like, I think our job sizes tend to be a bit smaller when we were door knocking compared to our other marketing tools.
Mm-hmm.
And so those were all the things that as we rebooted our door knocking, we were like, how do we get these things up?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've made a lot of changes this year. Our goal is to be to make it one of those like pillar campaigns, like I mentioned, where it's a campaign that can actually be over 2 million, which is over 10%. Honestly, it's hard for me to focus on campaigns that are like 1% or 2%. Like, if it doesn't have the opportunity to scale, then it's hard to invest a lot of time and energy. But this year, door to door was like the one thing where like, hey, we really want to figure it out this year. We actually want to hire a door to door manager, so it's not me in the field half like fractionally. And then so we've done that. We've had good success with the door to door manager and really integrating with the sales team to produce a better success rate on the jobs as well. But we're still
tell me some of your numbers. So like, cause I'm sure people will be interested. Like, so how many door knockers do you guys have on your team? It's like How many people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's like
right now,
four?
yeah, we're only at 5.
Five, okay. And they knock how many hours a week?
Um, we get about almost we're working towards 100 active knocking hours per week,
So
but
about
we're
20 hours each.
but right now we're about 80. So
Okay.
people are doing about 15 to 18 active knocking hours per week, like
I
actually.
usually I usually say 16 is what I'm aiming for. And then if I have a few people here on the teams that are at 20, and then I might have a couple exceptions where I'll let people work 12.
Hmm.
I have really found if I'm under 12, it's hard for them to have the reps or for them to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Oh,
And to your point, we've implemented the Monday huddle time, and the two people that consistently show up to that are at 35% and almost 45% SR.
right.
So the people that are showing up to the huddles, like most engaged, are doing really well. So the people that are like half engaged working other jobs, uh, they're not in the space enough to actually provide
How
enough.
many how many appointments are they booking a week, like your top people compared to your lower people?
Yeah, we've had weeks where the top person books over 20, but more like 12 to 15 is like a top performer this time of the year. Obviously, when it's colder in Minnesota, maybe not.
A little bit lower, yeah.
Then lower performer around that 8 appointments. A bad week would be 5,
Yeah.
but I think we've set it pretty like 5 is like doesn't happen too much anymore. We're usually closer to that 8. 5 used to be our threshold, and now 8's like the
I
base.
was just gonna say, like, this is a moving target a little bit based on training, is what I've experienced too. Like, for people who are building their skills, um, everything Caleb just said, I would say somebody who's got several months of decent training and has been doing this is gonna book 8 to 20 appointments a week, depending on kind of how good they are. And somebody who's doesn't have a lot of skill, who doesn't have a lot of training, I would say it's going to be more like 4 to 10.
Hmm.
And yeah, once you start getting down to like 3 appointments a week, it's just hard to make the numbers work for anybody. So and you guys book right at the door, right? Like you're not trying to bring in warm leads or anything. Like they're booking right onto the sales reps calendars at the door,
Yep.
right? And that works pretty well. Everybody in all the partners who do door knocking do that.
Yeah, we've done specific links for them and different round robin with different sales reps. Like we've tested all that stuff out over time to kind of see which sales rep does best. Um, to see like because we have a big enough sales team where we've been able to do that. This time of the year we can't because it's just we're pretty
You need
booked.
the appointments, yeah.
But in like slower season, we'll kind of focus the energy on the sales reps that are going to close at the highest rate.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Put you on blast here. You aren't going to know what I'm about to do. It looks like your door knocking team booked 35 appointments last week. Right, so that kind of fits with what you're saying.
That's
And then the week
yeah.
before that, I think it might have been a bit higher. Yeah, 45 the week before that. So that gives me an idea. Okay. And the pitch
paint.
at the door. What was that? Oh yeah, for paint. Oh yeah, because you
Also
guys
booked
have.
like 10 home exteriors, like
That's right.
roofing,
Yeah.
decks. So I know that's kind of given us an advantage, or like helped people reach a higher compensation. Is like they've been able to book deciding jobs, the roofing. Like I went out the other week and we booked a roof estimate, even though we asked for painting at the beginning. So that's been something that's evolved. Like having more services definitely does help.
Sure.
Have more options for the.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about the pitch at the door a little bit. Like, man, we have, dozens of people across the country knocking every single day. I would say there's some variation in this, but there's probably more in common just because they've all sort of trained through our system here. We've learned a lot. Shout out to the guys over at Foothills and that whole world. We've learned from them. We've learned from, man, there's so many people we could shout out, I suppose, for door knocking training, but we've also learned a lot ourselves, it feels like. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, because I think for us, we got hyper focused on how to get good quality appointments. And we figured out, like, if you use a lot of assumptive language, you could book way more appointments at the door, but it doesn't translate into dollars necessarily. So it's just like, you spin your tires. So I think we've kind of moved away from that to a little bit more like a first date, I think is what, at least the way I like to talk about it, where it's like, okay, we need to make a natural progression to that kiss. The kiss is the appointment, and they both need to want it for it to feel natural, right? And, your job as the door knocker is to get them talking about their painting and their house and then come to the natural conclusion, both of you, that you should get a free estimate.
Yeah, and I think we've aligned our compensation more and more over time. I know you have to
sold job, absolutely.
Sold job, percentage of revenue or a bonus every time the job sells. I think that, again, it's hard for them to fully control that, but the team is getting more and more bought into how much revenue did I sell last week? They didn't sell it, but it's cool for them to think through did that job sell? That was a big job.
Well, I'm getting more bought into this because we're watching the numbers so closely. I actually think sales staff at painting companies are not high level. In my opinion, you guys are going to hate me for saying this, but they're more estimators more than sales staff, right? So it's actually, there's quite a lot of burden then, in my opinion, on the door knocking team to bring people further into the buying process. And they have a huge, Caleb, I guess I would say no, I think that the door knocker has a huge impact on how much sells. And I could just tell you because we've watched it. Some of the people we've trained this year, they went from 15% success rate to 35% success rate. I think we have one last month, he was at 40% success rate. You know what he was at earlier in the year? 18. The sales team's exactly the same. It's just he's changed his entire way he deals with people at the door. And so it's about making the person feel safe at first, getting them talking about their house and their painting, creating a natural path to the estimate, booking the estimate right at the door there, and then once you kiss the person, don't run away. So you need to talk about who's going to come to their house, what's going to happen at the painting estimate, everything about the painting company, their Google reviews, everything about the owner. The more stuff you talk about, the irony is I've listened to enough of these two, it only takes 90 seconds to 2 minutes to actually do all that. So it's actually not that much time, but how many more people you bring them way further into the buying process, and then by the time the sales rep gets there, it's way easier. So yeah, I think a lot has to do with at the door. If you get really good at this, you could increase the success rate a lot. In fact, I'm starting to feel like you could have success rates just the same as Google or anything else if you just have a really good door knocker.
Oh yeah.
I would say you could consistently have 45, 50% success rates if you just do this correctly with very low, 5 to 10% slippage.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of our knockers, his name's Angel. He's at over $250,000. He's at 35% SR.
Success rate, okay. Oh yeah, I suppose I could look with you.
We've spent 6% marketing.
On gross with him? That's fantastic.
He's a former painter. I think what you're hinting at, all that stuff is maybe people are oh yeah, that makes sense. But what about retention and recruiting and keeping people long enough to actually? Because I think what we're talking about is a long process. Angel's been knocking for well over 6 months. He's been consistently doing it almost every week. That's not easy to keep someone that long and keep them engaged in the role.
$7,000 average job size I'm looking at for him. It's not like he's getting little itty bitty jobs.
Yep.
and it's pretty consistent. The difference, he has bid jobs are 6,500, sold jobs are 69. So actually, that's fantastic. Even higher jobs sold than what he's bid. The ones that are bid. Yeah, that's so great, man. Tell me about the culture that you guys have been building at Paris, because the other partners, we have lots of door knocking teams we built all over the country, but I do think what we have at Paris is something quite special. Every time I'm out with you guys, I'm usually out. I've been out with you guys, about every 2 weeks or something now, because we have people coming in who are doing trainings here so consistently now. So I've been out door knocking with you guys a couple times a month, and I'm just continued to be impressed by the culture you guys are building. The turnover you have is very low. The camaraderie you have is very high. Like, they just seem to love to work together. They're very competitive with each other each day about how many appointments they're booking. And tell me what you guys have done to make that sort of wonderful thing you have right now.
Most of the credit has to go to the field manager. He's active in the field all the time, with the team, putting up numbers for them to compete with them as well. I think the manager, there needs to be a leader or someone in the field to really show them the path. That's obviously a big point of success, but I'd say we've implemented a lot of different rhythms, including the Monday huddle. That's always open. We have free food. Come to the office. Let's talk about the numbers from last week. Put it all on the whiteboard. Talk about what's going on. Look at who has the most sold jobs.
And they're hyper aware. When I've been out with them, they're talking. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm making $1,500 a week, Nate. And this is a part-time job. So I think they're real proud of how much they're making, and they're talking to each other about how much they're making. So there's quite a bit of transparency too. And even when they talk to people who aren't in the role, they're telling them, they're quite proud of how much money they're making. I think they're probably making $60-$80 an hour a lot of times in this. I guess I could have done the math there. What is it? 1,500 divided by.
It depends on.
Yeah. Maybe as high as 100, depending on the hours, I suppose, right? There's some hours where they're making probably over $100 an hour, but when you start pulling it backwards, it's somewhere closer to that 60. But these are people where they'd be quite proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also heard they have a group goal, right? Because I see so far this year you've done 570 appointments for painting. I don't know, roofing, I'd have to pull up the other numbers.
So 150.
Yeah, and you guys are up over 1 million already sold, and it's pretty early in the season, right? Tell me, because I know Johnny said if they get over a certain number, they're going to go on a trip together. That does seem like it's a glue factor, right? Of they've got this camaraderie around this trip they're going to go on together.
Yeah, and the monthly connect as well. They went scuba diving the other month, and
yeah, that was wild.
Just random weird activities that the team wanted to do, and stuff that they wouldn't have maybe done on their own.
Right.
So I think that's what's keeping the team together, is they're doing stuff that go-karting. That's kind of expensive, and they may maybe not have done that on their own, but they did it as a team, so that keeps them together. But yeah, I can't remember what their goal is for revenue, but if it to hit that vacation, we were saying hey, if we really hit the goal,
I think it was 3 million, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we'll do a small trip at 3 million, and if it gets to 4 million plus, we'll do maybe an international trip or something.
Okay.
We'll see. But
now I'm going to try to join Caleb's team and start I think I could be a top producer on your team. I'm quite confident of that. So, okay. I think what I'm most impressed about, though, is I'm not going to call out, but there's some big home service businesses in the country that do a lot of door knocking. How about if I just say that? Maybe if you know the names of them. And their turnover is crazy. We're talking about they bring 12 people in each month and only one makes it to month 3. It's just 90% turnover kind of situations. So when I look at some of the teams that we've been building where it's like almost the opposite of that, right? You guys have lost one person this year. You're growing the team slowly and surely. You have a whole bunch of door knockers that started with you last year. Seemingly they have no interest in leaving. You know, they're excited to be on the team. They're excited to be growing their skills. They're excited to keep growing their compensation, you know, month over month. The reason I know, Caleb, is because when I talk to some of the guys on your team, they're talking very far in the future. Like, and I'm not just talking about compensation or like these trips. I'm talking about skill. Like, I know that you guys are building a lasting culture because they're like, well, I know I'm going to have the skill to book those kind of appointments like in the fall. Like, they already see their trajectory from like a coaching standpoint. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that, when I start hearing or seeing people talk like that, I realize like, oh, they're planning to be here for a long time. They're thinking of themselves as like growing professionally here. Mm. You see what I'm saying? So, but it's a lot of work, right? We're talking about coaching sessions every day, you know, not with every person every day, but certainly everybody has like coaching sessions every week. Mm-hmm. So what I see from your team is three things happening. Like, they're self-engaged, right? Like, what do we call it?
Yeah, I don't know. Self-motivated.
Regulating. That's the word I'm trying to look for. So they do some of their own coaching, whether they record themselves or they, you know, they're doing stuff on their own. Mm-hmm. Then they also do it amongst each other. I've watched them do it. They do buddy knocking. They record each other, listen to it. And then, of course, the third one is they have a coach that's there every day with them. Not literally every person, but he's cycling through and he's coaching people all through the week. Yeah. And if you can create a team that has all three levels, self-regulation, team support for one another, a coach that's active and present constantly, like, there's a lot of room. Like, you could start booking, like probably even on a small team, like 40 to 100 appointments a week. Right.
Yeah, initially I thought that we were going to scale the team to get much bigger, but I think we've focused on less geography and then focus on developing less people. Like, we're not just churning, and like, we've really turned down, like, we're not hiring people that only want to work out for a couple months. Like, you're not even going to be good until month 3. So, like, you can book appointments right away, but you're not going to get to that good compensation level. And
so people who are listening, they don't have any idea, and I can't put up a picture or anything that wouldn't be appropriate, Caleb, but I'm going to describe to them. Caleb's team has no college bros on his team. So what you guys have in your mind of the traditional door knocker, he has none of those people on his team. Mm-hmm. I would say the way I would describe the demographics of your team are like people who grew up probably poorer like I did, and like who are hungry to like earn money, and they're willing to hustle.
Yeah.
Right? They
fit the Aleph values: engaged, accountable, exceptional, and grateful. And grateful is one of the most important values. If they're not going to be grateful for the work, then we don't want to work together. You know, we all want to be grateful.
I wish we could go back in time to 2022 and talk to ourselves about this, because to me the difference there is you can hire college students that would be grateful. So I don't want to give you guys the wrong idea, but I would say the traditional college bro who's going to door knock, he has this sort of attitude like, well, yeah, man, I'm going to like do this for a few months because, you know, I got to get my hustle a little bit and it'll be good for my resume. But he does it very begrudgingly, and he's definitely not proud of it.
Yeah.
And for that reason, he's really not that grateful. It feels, if anything, a little bit more like an obligation, or almost like he's doing us a favor. Mm. Right? And that rarely seems to work for us, at least, because when you have someone like that, they're not engaged, they don't show up on time, they're definitely not going to work here in a year. At least that's what we felt. He's not going to definitely work. You know, I always find it funny because, like, well, of course they're not going to be here for spring break. They're not going to be here for Mother's Day weekend. It's just like the excuses sort of go on and on and on about all the days that they're not going to work too. It's finals. It's, you know, of course I have recency bias here, but like just in the last 6 weeks, it's finals, it's Mother's Day, it's spring break. It's just like, and then they end up working like half as many hours. And it's just like, yeah. And then their skill level is not going up consistently because they're just not taking it very seriously. Oh, my preference is someone that's highly engaged and who would take this very seriously. When the weather's a little bit bad, guess what? Caleb's team, they bring umbrellas. Like, you know, like they want to work. They want to make the money. They want to, like, there's no, the excuses aren't like, you know, high. Yeah, there's that too.
They need to work, and yeah, I think that's a big change in the team. I almost had to like beg people to work when I was starting in 2022 with all of my friends and different people from college that we've recruited. It's like, hey bro, come out today. Like, you know, it's like,
right.
Now it's just like they want to go out and they're like, can I go out early? Can I knock more?
Yeah, isn't that a different culture?
Almost completely opposite.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's been really wonderful to watch that all happen. You guys hang flyers at the same time as you door knock. I'm really surprised when people don't do that. I'm just looking. You guys got 51 appointments just off that. All right, so I mean, a whole chunk of his, it's like, 10% of their appointments are coming just for the flyers. It might be more than that too, right? Because that one's really hard to classify, I'm sure. So,
it is with all of the other so, but yeah.
For those of you guys that have been hanging around with us, you know how important neighborhood marketing is, and part of that is the history I've got of just coming in at Paperboy, and then Caleb came in and just like he put so many systems and so many processes in place that I just never did. I'm a little bit more visionary and he's a little bit more get things done, right? So Caleb has taken everything that I thought about to a whole nother level here over the last couple of years at Paris. And, it was so apparent to me, Caleb, how far ahead we are in this way of like, what I mean is when you go out and knock with Paris, I think like 1 in 4 houses know who you guys are. Mm-hmm. Like I've been out with a lot of painting companies around the country, and I would say it's not uncommon for like 1 in 100. Like you'd knock a whole day and one person would know who you are. Whereas Paris, it's like every few minutes somebody knows who they are. But that's very purposeful marketing, right? Like we've been marketing to those neighborhoods, those very specific neighborhoods over and over and over for years and years and years with lots of messaging. And you can't go back in time. Like in this way, Paris is sort of like a juggernaut of momentum in very specific neighborhoods.
Yeah, I would say that the door-to-door team, a big shift in thinking it's harvesting. Like you're not even like it's harvesting from all the other things that we're doing. Like yes, we're sometimes getting people that didn't know us. But if we did a survey, I would guarantee you that probably like 50 to 75% at least of the appointments we booked previously knew us from flyers, mail, yard signs, past clients, neighbors. Like just because the streets that we're knocking on almost every day, I look at the daily map just briefly, and usually there's at least 8 to 10 past clients in each person's map.
And they're only knocking
all the 200 homes.
Yeah, I was going to say they're knocking a very small amount of homes each day, right? It's like 100 to 200.
150, we usually we're doing like 150. So like usually like 8. So sometimes there's 10% of the homes that are past clients. It can be that high. It's usually close to 5 to 10%.
Yeah, it's totally different. Like, and when you knock in an environment like that, I mean, that's really the environment that we've so beautifully created that I want for all painting companies, honestly, because it's so different. And I know I'm looking up on the board, you spent $58,000 on retargeting and with Google this year, or, it's probably 50,000 because a little bit of that search probably. And you've spent $5,000 on social, a lot of that's retargeting too, right? So these are people who've gotten a flyer, a postcard or something, and they've gone to our website, and then we've retargeted them on Meta and Google and places like this. So when we're talking about neighborhood marketing, even though a lot of times we're talking about yard signs and flyers and door knocking and direct mail, the truth of the matter is it extends completely into our digital marketing too. We're just, as soon as we get them to our website, we're going to follow them forever. Spend, we're going to go after them with hundreds of impressions. Let's put it that way. So, tell me, okay, so you told me last week you guys are doing 20 different postcards every single week?
If you include mail and everything, there's probably at least 10 to 20 designs in a week.
Every week. So I think people just don't have a scale. Yeah, I know, but like if you do extrapolate that out over like quarter 2 and quarter 3, because I think I've told people before that Paris had 80 different postcards, and I'm realizing like it's actually more than that. But people actually don't believe me when I tell them that Paris has 80, and then our partners probably have, let's call it a dozen to 20, Caleb. So they're like, they're definitely not at the same level as Paris, but people don't believe me when I've told them that you have 80, but actually that's way lower than you're actually doing. Right?
There's
what? Yeah. Tell people like why so many unique messaging, like what's the unique messaging that you're looking for in a flyer or a postcard? Like what is it that you're putting on the postcard and like why?
I think something broke in my mindset when I saw that we had several neighborhoods that were 500 homes to 1,000 homes that were producing more revenue than zip codes with 10,000 homes. So then I was like, logically, I was just like, these neighborhoods.
Like how much revenue? Like 1,000 houses, how much revenue last year?
Yep. Like Summit Hill or some of our core neighborhoods, like that area, it's 1,000 homes. We'll consistently do like close to.
Sure.
300 to 500. Our top carrier route from the last 4 years, we've done almost $1 million of revenue, and it's only 400 homes. Right. And it's the line of historic homes where we just keep going back, and we get very large jobs. And I think
I can't wait till our CRM doesn't keep track of this right now, just so you guys know, but I can't wait for it too, because yes, like you're talking about $400 per household revenue. Mm-hmm. And that number I think is meaningful, because when you ask the question of like, Nate, how do I know if I've got my neighborhood takeover program is working, or how do I know if my 5 Mile Famous is working? I think that metric, watching that number go up, you will start seeing like all of your metrics will get better as that number goes up.
Yeah, I'm just looking at
dollars per resident is what I'm saying.
Like I looked at our highest last year was 250 homes, and we were at $760 of revenue per single family home.
Right.
So we almost 200,000 from like 250 homes.
Yeah, I mean, if your mind's not being blown right now, I don't know if you're listening closely. Because if your mind's not blowing right now with that number, you have no idea how much saturation that is. Like it's extraordinary saturation, because people don't paint their house every year, right? So like if you really start extrapolating that, it's like, oh man, you guys are really dominating in certain specific geographies.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, that's only coming from 15 jobs actually. But
yeah, so some of it's like big jobs too. Oh, you're working on some historic homes where it's several tens of thousands. Although your average job size across the board year to date right now is like 6,700. So it's not like you guys are doing all, $40,000 projects, right? But
yeah.
So, okay, how many times a year are we talking about door knocking? How many times a flyer? How many times a direct mail? Like, what are you sequencing for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. It depends on the neighborhood. Like our top neighborhoods obviously get the most attention, where they're going to get 3 to 5 mail pieces, and then they're going to get like 3 to 5 neighborhood touches, like which is a flyer on the door / door knock. So they're going to for sure get 3 to 5 mailers, and then they're for sure going to get. We're probably going to knock on the door at least a couple times, and then a couple other times we're just leaving a flyer with our flyer delivery people. So we're definitely doing like closer to 10 touches, like
Per year.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah,
Yeah, I would say the partners, it's 3 flyers, 2 door knocks, and maybe a mailing. So I would say it's probably closer to 5, right? And we just aren't quite as advanced as where Paris is at, because the more touches also you have to think through the content. There's just a lot more. The more moving parts in a single, it's like that requires a lot more design, a lot more everything. And it's not as necessary for a $3 to $8 million business as it is for a $18 million business. So you don't have to be quite that complicated when you're at a smaller level. So.
yeah. I think we always try to come with something unique or a new message, but it doesn't always happen. Or at least a different creative.
Yeah.
That makes it very tricky because you have like 50 plus neighborhoods, and then you are touching them like a bunch of different times. And sometimes we group them into sections of the city too. It's not always neighborhood specific, but it's still local.
Yeah, but even if you had 40 different, and then you're all of a sudden doing 3, it's like, that's 120 different designs right there.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, that's probably like, there, and that's like quite a lot of uniqueness too. We're not talking about just changing a headline. We're talking about pictures, headlines, content, everything's different about each postcard. So it's pretty involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because people's BS meters, if you just change, because I tried that. I was like, just change the headlines. It's like people realize if the pictures are pictures of houses in their neighborhood, if you're talking about houses right in their neighborhood on thing, like there's all these little things that make a big difference.
Yeah, and I've seen other companies that are using AI to like do the before and after of their home and stuff like that. But I think there's nothing more powerful than a project completed near you. I just don't think we're ever going to advance beyond that because it's real. You can't argue with it. Like it happened. Here's the proof. Here's a homeowner with a happy home. Like they're happy with their home and their project. There's nothing more dominant than doing that.
Yeah.
But then it's hard to do that across multiple neighborhoods, and like obviously you got to provide a good experience too. So
yeah, it's that local, present, competent, right? And I know Nick Slavic has been talking a lot about it too because he's winning quite a bit with that strategy, and we've been winning with that strategy for many years. Like it works.
mm-hmm.
So okay, I know we're at time. We'll have to pick up more. Maybe people have some questions and then we can answer them. We can pick it up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Caleb.
Yeah. Thanks, Nate.